Hi, Lacey. We're Troop 50249. I'm Tori.
I'm Ileana.
I'm Reagan.
I'm Briella.
I'm Nisa.
And I'm Sophie.
This year for our Bronze Award, we're making a video for Lacey's 150th anniversary.
So, sit back and enjoy the movie.
Lacey's the best kept secret in any part of New Jersey.
Live it.
Love it.
Be part of it.
It's like a little pearl. It sits on the water, but back in from the bay. It sits an hour and a half from New York, an hour from Philly, and 45 minutes from Atlantic City, yet it's a quieter seashore type of town.
When I got married in 1951, there were less than 1,000 people living in all of Lacey Township. When I was a child, where there are houses today was all woods.
The three towns, Lanoka and Bamber and Forked River.
That we were three little villages under the auspices of Lacey Township. We each had a post office. Each little village had a school. We had this as a one-room schoolhouse. This was in use until the 1950s. The first school that Lacey built was over on Lacey Road, which is now the Forked River Grade School. It was originally called the Lacey Township Grade School. It housed kindergarten to 6th grade, and this school, as I said, is owned by the township. It was up for sale, and it was acquired to be used as a museum to present to the people of today how the past was.
We have three nice little towns, and I like the way they grow, and I like the way they contribute to the history and the future of Lacey Township.
Lacey Township is celebrating its 150th anniversary this year. It is our sesquicentennial.
This township was founded the same time that the Yellowstone National Park, when Ulysses S. Grant made Yellowstone National Park, the same year.
It is a very special time in town because for 150 years, the town has been going strong, and we have grown so much over time, and it's just a special year.
Well, last Thursday, they made me honorary mayor of Lacey Township. Now, I guess that's for cutting ribbons, kissing babies, and doing whatever I'm supposed to do to make that 150th very special.
What was it like when you were 10 years old? What did you go hunting, fishing? What did you do?
I raised a lot of hell, I can tell you that.
Live it.
You're looking probably at the oldest native family in Ocean County, if not one of the oldest. My father's people right here in this town, the late 1600s, and my mother's family, 1795. So I'm as native as you will ever find.
Well, my father purchased property in 1926, so I summered here from when I was born in 1931. And in 1944, my family moved to Lanoka Harbor, so I've lived in Lacey Township permanently since 1944.
It started at a young age. My father bought a piece of property down here in 1967. We love boating, and that's what attracted us.
I moved to Lacey in 1972 with my parents and my siblings.
My parents bought their first house in Lacey when I was 18 months old, and I'm a graduate of the Lacey Township High School.
I didn't decide, my parents decided. We moved here when I was 12. My parents bought the Captain's Inn, and we started our time in Forked River.
I've lived here all of my 43 years. I was born and raised in Bayville, but then 20 years ago we hopped the Cedar Creek and moved to Lanoka Harbor.
I've lived in Lacey since 1983.
I've been in Lacey basically my entire life.
Well, it's been great. We bought our first house in Lacey in 1998, and we've been living in the community ever since. And it's been a great community. It's very close-knit.
I moved here when I was about 7, and I did most of my elementary school years and my whole high school career here. I have participated a lot in community events and like outreach programs and stuff like that. So I would say it's a big part of my life, and it's a way I can give back to the community as well. And I've met a lot of my friends and people who I would consider really close to me while growing up here.
There was nothing here. When you came in Beach Boulevard, you used to call those little homes were called the Charlie Pearl Specials. He's the one that built them, Charlie Pearl Specials. Well, the reason he built them is they started to build the power plant here. And there was a lot of people from out of state that came here to work on the power plant. So these people had to live someplace. And this Charlie Pearl was right near the power plant. He built all those little tiny homes that you see. That he built them way back then when the power plant was being built. That's how it's changed. And then back then, we didn't have cops at night. If you had any trouble at night, you had to call the state police because they didn't have enough cops to run. And the community hall used to be the police headquarters and the courthouse, where the community hall, you know where the community hall is? Yeah, that used to be the police headquarters too.
When I was a kid here, your age, we had about 800 people. Now you have 29,000. So as you can see, just the population changes everything because people demand more, they want more. And of course, when I was a kid growing up here, the average tax on a house was $4. Now, what is it now? An average $250,000 home, you're paying about $3,000 in taxes. So that's how it's changed.
I remember the only time that we had a traffic jam is when bingo let out. That's when maybe 10 or 15 cars came out of bingo. But it has grown so much, and we didn't have no mail delivery back then. Everybody had post office boxes back then. We didn't have no garbage pickup. We had to take our stuff to the dumps. So there's a lot of things that we had back then. And when you had company come down, everybody had well water and septic tanks. So you had to be careful how do you use the water and how you went to the bathroom.
Oh my God, you can go on here for days. Let's see, right at 1867, we had 4 railroads in Lacey Township. 4. Central Railroad, Jersey Central Railroad, Tuckerton Railroad, and Pennsylvania Railroad. At one time, you could go over here at the station, get on a train, and go anywhere in the United States. Now we have none. So is that progress? I don't know. But that's what we had then. And let's see, the little history for you people, you think of the Captain's Inn as the main building. It wasn't. That was a stable for the working, and they had a little bar for the working class people. And then the hotel was next door, Eno's was called. And it just so the Eno family were pretty well off, and that was the first Bell telephone system in Lacey Township, was Eno's. They were right out of Eno's hotel.
Oh, the Captain's Inn is part of the history of Lacey. The main building is from 1813. So for 50 some odd years, it was Eno's family ran a restaurant and a hotel. And it has been the Captain's Inn for about 70 years. So it's part of the history of Lacey. It's weathered the storms, it's helped people, people have helped us. It's one of the last, I think, mom and pop type restaurants in Lacey on the water.
A friend of mine had I don't know, it was a summer home or a parents' home in Lanoka Harbor, and he told me about this gas station for sale. And my wife and I came down and looked at it, and we talked to the lady that owned it, because her husband, the elderly people had it, but her husband died, and she couldn't run the business herself, so that's why she was selling it. When I started the business in '67, it was a Crown gas station. And I figured, well, let me get a better credit card business than Crown, because Crown wasn't that popular. So I got Gulf Oil to come in, which was a good credit card, and they put all new tanks for them in the ground, and they fixed I had a nice business, gas business plus a repair business, plus a towing business. So I had things to back up on. And then what happened, my appendix bursted on me. I guess 15 years I was at business. So that's when my son took the business over, and then I started driving a school bus. And now Jeff has his own business, my son. He has his own business in town, right across the street from my old place. So it stayed in the neighborhood.
Oh, well, I've been just about everything. I was mayor of the town 6 times, this town. I did the zoning for the town when I was 22. I president of the Cemetery Association, Good Luck Cemetery Association, for 50-some years. Just turned it over to my son Casey. I still sit on the board. I've been chairman of the Ocean County Utilities Authority. I've been on that authority for starting my 43rd year. I was on the Ocean County Historic Society vice president. Let's see what else. I was president of the Local 10, the Fraternity Order of Police.
Growing up in Lacey, it was a lot quieter than it is now, a lot smaller community-wise. There wasn't as many people as there is now, but still, even though we've grown a lot since then, we're still very community-based here. Lacey is a beautiful town that I would highly recommend if somebody I knew was moving to New Jersey. It's close in proximity to a lot of great places also, like Philadelphia and New York City. And we've got beaches and parks and lots of wonderful things about Lacey. I would highly recommend moving to Lacey Township.
Being a police officer in Lacey is just a fantastic job. Lacey Township is like I said, is an absolute great community. We're very fortunate here. We have very little violent crime here in Lacey Township. Our community, without a doubt, probably has some of the best parks in Ocean County, if not the state. Our school district, absolutely, absolutely amazing. The organizations that we have here, from the Rotary Club of Forked River to the Moose Lodge to the Elks Lodge, and I don't want to leave anyone out, so I'll say all of the organizations here in Lacey Township, our emergency services, our fire departments, our EMS squads, our dive team, we just all around have a great community here.
What I remember from my dad is that he would always say that his job was to help people, and that's what I feel the spirit of the Lacey Township Police Department was and always has been and still is, I believe, is that, you know, they've always wanted to help others and help the town.
Lacey's actually gone with the step of, if we can make the community healthier, if we can make the community better, why not, you know, throw something at the lake? Why not try this at the park? We're looking just for a healthier, better community, and what way better than to combine those elements of health, wellness, yoga, outdoors.
Lacey gives the best of both worlds. You have 4 seasons, but you also have access to the beach and waterfront properties. It's a beautiful area with many parks and great people, great restaurants, and it's a great place to live.
So my parents ran the business for 35 years. I came back from school in New York and ran it with them. And then actually we sold it for a period and I worked for other people, and then I bought it back about 12 years ago.
What makes Lacey unique? I think Lacey is unique because of all the opportunities that are here. I think you still have the small town feel where everybody knows each other. And also you still have that, it's such a large space, so you get such a variety of places to go.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to raise a family in Lacey. It's probably one of the most unique places for people to grow up, especially since we have so many different things to offer kids in this town. I mean, we have, from just our parks alone, we have county parks, we have our township parks. We're right around natural preserves. You know, we have the Forsyth National Reserve that's here, the Pinelands Reserve that's here. Plus we have Cedar Creek. You can go canoeing down or tubing down. You have the lakes. There's just so much to do. And it's, you know, so much natural things that are around us that it's just amazing. It's an amazing place to have your family grow up.
There's a very array of things to do here, including, you know, starting with water sports, water activities, and there's also pine barrens here, which are great. So if you don't care for the water, you can always go into the woods. If you're a hunter, you love to hunt, we have that here too. So there's everything mixed together to have a great time.
You know, there's so many amazing parts in Lacey. So I think the reason that I moved to Lacey for my career was to see all the beautiful parks, but there's also the ocean and the bay. So really all of it.
Life in Lacey was altogether different than up North Jersey. Much slower, and people took care of each other. If you had a little trouble, they were there to help you. You always knew somebody to give you a hand. And people were friendly that way. You're like family.
I grew up as a kid going to summer camp in the parks, living at the lakes every day, the fishing, the swimming. But I had such great freedom to be able to explore, be out in nature, you know, be able to spend time with my friends. It was such a great childhood. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to buy a house and raise my kids here.
Well, I'm a third generation bayman in the area. My grandfather on my mom's side was a commercial clammer, and about 40 years ago he put a clam rake in my father's hand and said, go give this a try. And then we kind of spread out from there. So we kind of specialized into blue claw crabs over the last 30 plus years or so. And it's just really, it's a lot of fun to do. You know, I really love the Barnegat Bay and I love this area. In the wintertime, we dig crabs out of the mud, which a lot of people don't know about. So we tow rakes around and actually, you know, dig for hibernated crabs. And one of the really kind of fun parts about it is all the extra stuff that you catch.
Lacey Township is filled with such a diverse array of natural resources. We've got water all around us. We've got our lakes, and we've got Barnegat Bay, which they're just treasures. Our park systems are amazing. We have big parks that are very active with sports fields, but we also have small passive parks where you can just enjoy a walk through a trail. We can, you know, accommodate all types of recreation, whether it's biking, walking, swimming, to our very active sports communities where you can have tournaments and different games, sand volleyball courts, basketball courts, tennis courts. There's really no limit to what we can do in town in terms of recreation. Some of my favorite spots in town, Meadowlark Beach, which is down at the end of Bay Way. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but it was a great spot where I used to take my children when they were very small and they didn't learn to swim just yet. They were like 2 and 3. But you know, my favorite thing about the town and why it's such a great place is you really have everything at our fingertips here. We could go paddleboarding in the lake, kayaking or canoeing down Cedar Creek. You know, we can also, you know, take the boats out if we wanted to. So it really is a great place.
Life in Lacey is very, very still hometown, but lots of other activities that are available either in the town or around the town. Lacey is very family oriented. There are lots of things for children to do, lots of activities, sports, good elementary schools, good high school. It's a town where there's lots of caring people, Lots of people work here, are very caring for the community, and actually live in the community, which is important.
I think after college, what could probably pull me back into this town is really like growing up, I kind of moved a couple places, and then I came here and I had like a solid community. This is where I spend most of my life. So I think just the family aspect and the relationships with not only like my friends that I've made while here, but like community members like the Rotary and the high school and things like that would probably draw me back.
You're gonna enjoy it here because you make a lot of friends and it's such a close-knit community that you never feel like you're alone, and that bundle up for the winter because it gets pretty cold here.
One of the things, everything's easy to get to, everything's very localized, so if you need to go out really quick to pick something up, everything's really convenient. The traffic's not too bad, and the roads are pretty good.
It's a very clean township. You don't see debris. The roads are swept clean.
It's a great place to raise a family because all the schools are kind of really close together. People know one another. People are very supportive of one another in the community. And it's close to the beach, which is a huge plus because you can go to either Seaside or Long Beach Island very quickly. And it's just a really nice community, low crime. It's just a really nice place to live.
I like the government here. I think it's very, very efficient compared to other townships.
Although we've become larger, we're still small town. We still know everyone, or they try to know everyone, or get to know everyone in town. There's lots of outreach. The churches are strong for doing that as well, for reaching out. And I think it's a caring community, and I think what really drove that home was Superstorm Sandy, seeing how the town came together for that. And I hope it's remained, and I hope it remains 100 years from now, 25 years from now. I hope we're still that tight community. Again, we don't always agree, but we always try to do what's best.
As big as the town has gotten, I still see it as a small community. This is tough because last year was tough. It was tough for all the kids in town. It was tough for everybody. And the way the town reached out to me was, it was crazy. I felt so much love from the community last year. It's a really kind town, and there's a lot of arguing and bickering amongst people, mostly on social media. But as a whole, it's a really small community.
What Lacey means to me is it means friends and family coming together and just, you know, being happy.
The school system is great. The teachers and the administrators who have their feet on the ground in the schools are great. That's what's great about our schools, the people who are in the schools with their feet on the ground. That's what makes our schools go forward. That's what keeps them going as smooth as they are. The Township Committee has a lot of great guys on it. I'm in love with the Recreation Department. They're great people. The Recreation Department has always been there for me, starting with John Kilmary. Mayor Parker was great when I first started out. Bill Shepard, who passed away this year, known as Mr. Christmas in town. I don't know if you've ever went to his yard on Bayway. We used to put out all the decorations. He was great getting me involved in the community more with Lacey Day. But the question was, how would I describe Lacey? It's a great town with a lot of great people, and the kids are awesome. The kids are really great in this town.
So life in Lacey is amazing. There's so many places to visit. There's parks, there's great stores, there's great restaurants. You know, you really do get such a wide variety of experiences here. If I wanted to go on a boat or go kayaking, I could do that. If I wanted to take a nice walk in the park, I could do that. And I think the most important thing about Lacey is the heart, pride, and tradition it has in its community.
There's everything you need in Lacey Township. You don't have to go very far to get what you need. You know, I mean, if you had to just stay in Lacey, you could just survive and work and live and play and have a great time and have a great life.
I think the Captain's Inn has grown with Lacey as a business in town. We have always tried to be community-minded and to help everything from the Girl Scouts to the soccer teams, to the high school, to the grade school, in any way that we can. And, you know, most recent, you know, the Sandy was a terrible tragedy on the shore for everyone. So we were fortunate. I mean, we lost our tiki bar, but not the main restaurant. So we were able to be up and cooking and helping others right away.
Some pretty good businesses here in Lacey, good restaurants to eat. You know, there's a number of religious organizations of all denominations. So whatever faith you're practicing, you can find a church or a chapel here.
The church serves as the Catholic Church of Lacey Township. We have many different ministries which serve our county or our town, such as the Samaritans that help with anybody in need. We have a food pantry for anybody who may be running low on food for the week. We also provide religious education services for all the Catholic students within Lacey Township.
Art's important to any town because it's part of developing the culture of any particular community or region. It also provides a healthy creative outlet for our youth and our seniors and really people of all ages. We also have such a great, rich visual resource for things to paint. We're in nature, and it's a way for me in particular to be able to showcase the beauty that I see around me. And you know, there are various places along the rail trail. We have the lakes, we have the bay. We have we could travel to the lighthouse, and it's been a source of inspiration for many, for myself, and also the artists in the area.
It's important because you want to be able to give everyone the chance to experience something amazing. I really. It's hard to put into words what music is because it's something you feel, it's something you experience, and it's something that you can share. So it's really a wonderful thing for the children of Lacey to be able to start with at Cedar Creek and work their way up through the entire Lacey School District. And thankfully they also do it at Lanoka Harbor School and Forked River School and all the way through the high school. And it's well supported by all of our faculty administration and principals, and yeah.
I personally want to make sure that I'm looking out for our children. I have a young daughter, and I want to make sure that the fields are well for our soccer, our lacrosse, our football teams, our teams at our high schools, that kids have a rich educational experience. I'm not here but for my education. So I know that that's important. So I try to make policies and focus on those type of things.
Museum was formerly the Forked River Grade School. Children did not always go to modern schools like you might go to, but they went to, quote, one-room schoolhouses. This happens to have two. It was built in 1868.
I sat just a little ahead right there. That's where I sat. Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to school here. I went to school here, and then I went to Lanoka School. And then after the Lanoka School, then I went to Tom's River. That was a big time. I thought I was in heaven. They had new baseballs and everything. Huh?
Did you take the train?
Yeah, for the first year. And then they bought a bus, and Paul Ditton used to own the store up in Lanoka Harbor. He ran the bus. It was a Mack bus.
This is a township-owned building. And when it was no longer used for a school, there was talk of selling it. There was a group of artists who wanted to purchase it. And three ladies got together and they decided they wanted to preserve the schoolhouse and possibly use it as a museum. So they petitioned the township committee and asked if that was not a possibility. And the town fathers decided that they would give use of the north room, that's this room here, we call this the north room, that would be the south room, This is the original school. That was the addition. We preserve the artifacts, the stories, and the history of Lacey Township for future generations. People can come and visit. They can come and look. We are open during the summer for designated hours, and we're always open during the year for anybody who wants to come in. We will open up and give them a private tour.
So the Forked River School is, I'm very proud of it because it is the most historic school that is currently operating in the district. It opened in 1952 as they closed down the one-room schoolhouses, and that's really where the Lacey Township School District began. The Forked River School was initially called the Lacey Township Grade School, and from there the school district grew to Lenoka Harbor School being built, then our middle school, our high school, and then Cedar Creek School.
I was on the committee to bring the high school here originally.
The Lacey Township high school students or middle school students worked hard to campaign to actually get Lacey High School built. We made phone calls and we went out and helped the adults campaign, and I was one of those students because we really thought that it was important that Lacey have their own high school, and we then separated from Central Regional after that.
So Mill Pond Elementary School is a preschool 5th and 6th grade building in Lacey Township, and all of our students from the lower elementary come up to Mill Pond, and then our students leave Mill Pond and go to the middle school. And I think one of the most important things about our school is everybody comes together. That's one thing I love about Mill Pond is we get to see all of the students in 5th and 6th grade in Lacey. So the students really get to come together, the community comes together, and the families.
I would say that my greatest contribution to Lacey is being able to teach kids and educate many kids that have come through Lenoka Harbor School. This is my 16th year teaching, so to watch them grow up and now come back as adults to visit and just, I think that just being a part of, helping these kids grow up.
Oh, so I've taught in Lacey Township High School since 2001. I'm a television production teacher there, and it's been really the joy of my life. I really enjoy what I do at the high school. I've worked with tons of students, on working on, communications careers and film careers and television careers, and I just have a lot of fun doing it. I also run the Lacey Township High School Fishing Club, and we've got a lot of students there as well that I really enjoy working with.
One of the best things about working for the schools, you know what, I have to say, and I said it earlier, it's the students, because that's why we're here. It's to make sure that you all are getting the best possible education, and we work every day to improve that.
Lacey Township has prepared me for future goals by helping me see a more diverse scope with my volunteer experiences and getting to see people from different backgrounds and learning about different things. And also the faculty at the elementary and high school levels have given me a lot of life lessons to take with me when I go to college and later in life as well.
One of my biggest contributions, gosh, that's a great question. And I think I have to say that my biggest contribution is being here as long as I have. There's a lot of turnover in school districts, and what that means is, people move around a lot. And I've been here for a long time, since 2004 actually, and I started out as vice principal, and I love that. And then I moved to principal of Lacey Township Middle School, and then I was the assistant superintendent for about 12 years. And I've met so many people, I've seen so many students, and watching our students progress through the schools and beyond, because I still talk to a lot of our graduates, it's a good feeling to know that we have students that have graduated and are so successful. And I think having been here as long as I have, I've been able to see that.
I wanted to become the principal because I love Lacey Township, and I thought what could be better than to help students and our teachers become the very best people they can be and help our kids grow and learn socially, emotionally, academically, and provide a nice, safe school for them to do that in.
Because a lot of our students go into the military, which is very, very laudable, right? It's an amazing contribution. A lot of our students go into the workforce, And there's a lot to be said for that. And so that is our goal in Lacey, is to develop well-rounded, law-abiding citizens that are willing to take on any opportunity that comes their way, whether that's college, the workforce, the military. But education is key, regardless of what direction students end up going in.
What has not changed is the people that move in here are nice people. I think we're very fortunate because you can hold a meeting and you know, you might have a little argument here or there, but the people are basically nice. And I think that's the great thing about Forked River, Lacey Township, and Ocean County itself, that usually the people are very, very nice, and I like that.
But all in all, I think it's just a feel that you get from being part of this community, which I enjoy very much.
What do I love about Lacey? I don't know, the people. I just loved the people. The people were that was it.
Love it.
What do I love? Oh, that's a hard question. Well, you know what? First and foremost, I'm going to say I absolutely love the students, and that is followed by our teachers. And I just love the fact that we're a big and small community all in one, and I think our Lacey Township community is amazing.
I really love the people in this community.
One of my favorite things about Lacey is being so close to the ocean.
I love the small town feel of Lacey Township.
I love just about everything about Lacey. I grew up here. I love the people most of all.
Oh, I love all Lacey.
I love the people.
Loved our parks.
The people. I like the people in Lacey. I like the kids in Lacey. I like a lot of the small businesses in Lacey.
I would say the best thing about Lacey is the people.
Oh, if you're not from this area, life in Lacey, you would love it. You would just love the people here, the friendliness, the openness. You would actually love the summertime with when everybody comes down and it's bustling and the boats and just everything you can do in summer. And if you live here, you equally love the winter because it quiets down a little. We have nice little fireplaces and we have pretty much activities all year long. It just changes a little season to season.
People, the residents, our organizations, our businesses, you know, our schools. Everybody just makes Lacey Township what it is today. And I have to give out to our recreation department. Our recreation department does a great job. You can see again, we have the parks here. I have 2 kids. We've spent plenty of times over the years going to parks. It's something that I really enjoy and love about Lacey Township.
I love that it's just a drive away to go to the beach, or you could take the boat, you could go fishing. And I think there's so many opportunities for our students and families here in Lacey.
Probably one of the most special memories I have as a kid growing up in Lacey is the 4th of July celebration at the Second Lake. It was amazing how tight the community was, like everyone was together. And now you'll drive past Lake Barnegat and say, wow, that little bit of sand, that little bit of beach, I can't believe the entire town. But the entire town was there. There was like pickup trucks with people, with the kids and the sparklers and the dogs. And I just always remember 4th of July at the Lacey Lake being one of the highlights and one of my best memories of being a kid and growing up here.
Favorite Lacey story? Last year, when I was mayor the first time, it was 2017, I got to stand up on the stage at our high school. There must have been about 10,000 people there waiting for the fireworks. So I gave a little pep USA first, last, and always speech. And one of our employees recorded it. He sent it to me. Looking back on it now, it's a little embarrassing, but I got really excited. The fireworks are going off. All the police and firemen are there, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the whole town. I'm sure you've seen the fireworks. So it was just a time when it just felt like that night the whole town came together as one. And 4th of July at the high school for our fireworks, some of my favorite memories.
I think probably my favorite thing about Lacey is the fact that I get to watch my children go to the same school that I went to as a child and have some of the same friendships that I had growing up.
My favorite part of growing up here is that Lacey is a nice small town, but it has amazing natural resources that surround it. It's got the Pine Barrens to the west, and it has, of course, the Barnegat Bay and the ocean to the east.
Well, first of all, I know they have the best parks in probably the whole state, without a doubt.
When I first moved here, I really enjoyed being able to take my kids down to the lake, and through the years, it's the camaraderie and the fact that I feel Lacey is one big community.
Means everything. And I was born and raised here, and my family are here. My kids are here, my grandkids, and I have two great-grandchildren.
I really love that I can walk out my front door and I can, within under a mile, I can go to the lake and watch the sunset, or I could ride my bike to see the sunrise on the bay, and I can enjoy nature here and all the wonderful trails and just, being out in the pine lands. It's really, really special. And also, what I think is unique is that within 20 minutes, either north or south, I can soak up the sun on a beautiful beach, Ocean Beach, and if I want to go to an art museum or I want to see a show, a Broadway show or a Broadway quality show, I can travel in just over an hour to Philadelphia or New York City.
I love the fact that there's always somebody to lend a helping hand, to give support, to be a listening ear. And also the fact that we welcome everyone who comes into the town.
I moved here about 4 years ago, and I love all the restaurants in the area and being part of the Moose.
I love that Lacey is still a small town that will come together to help each other when families are in need.
Well, I like the community. I like how that a lot of people know one another. The school systems are great. I have 3 children. They're 15, 17, and 19. They all went through the school system. So the teachers are all very personable. When you see them out at the local stores, they always stop and say hello to the kids.
Love the way the town comes together at the parades and the 4th of July celebration, and the land of good neighbors. Love it here.
I like the police force, they're all good guys. The Department of Public Works keeps our parks as clean as possible. The kids could do a better job picking up their bottles and picking up their ice cups, and at the skate park, at the basketball court, but also with soccer and also at baseball, pick up their water bottles a little bit more. But the DPW, our parks are beautiful because of the Department of Public Works and how much they maintain them and how much work they put into them. So the parks are great. The lakes are great. The lake, maybe the 3rd lake eventually get back on track. I think it's a pretty town. I think the rail trail is nice. The park, Enos Pond, is a nice park to go to. Gilly Park is beautiful. It's a lot of parks. There's a lot of places for people to go. It's a pretty town. There's a lot of nice places to go in Lacey.
We have some really nice people here in Lacey, and they're all kind, and I would not ask for better neighbors and anything.
I love it. It's small, but it's nice. You know a lot of people because, like I said, it's a small town. Many parks, many places to play soccer, which is what I love to do. So.
Our schools are amazing. Our parks are beautiful. Our food bank is amazing, and our food bank is very much a presence in our schools because it teaches our students sense of community. It gives them opportunities to volunteer. In fact, we had a most amazing food collection just recently. All 6 of our schools participated, and that's just a testament to how close-knit our community is, and so that is important for people to know. And it's just a great place to live, and I find that our community in times of need comes together and just does what it needs to do to get the job done.
I love taking my daughter fishing in Lake Barnegat, where the Whibbit is. I do love our lakes, and I love our parks and our fields. My favorite thing about Lacey is the people. It just seems like everyone knows everybody. It's got that small town feel. And you know, if God forbid in the past a child has gotten a horrible disease with cancer, the entire town comes out to support it. The fire department and the police department, the emergency, first aid. Everybody comes together. Not everybody may have known the child or for the cause, but we all come together. Whether it's Girl Scouts selling cookies or somebody offering some other service from one of their businesses. I do like that, and that's what keeps me in Lacey, that you don't get that small town feel where everyone comes together in big time cities. You get it in Lacey.
Be part of it.
So it's important to have community help, you know, around you, because we can't do it alone here in Lacey. It's always been like that ever since I can remember as a little kid. You know, my dad, early on in the 80s, had joined the Lenoka Harbor Fire Company, and early on in the 1980s, you know, that was a community in itself. And it was always like, we were always there for each other.
Well, no man is an island. You need help. Thank God I've always had great friends that could help. And I still have today. No one person can do anything. You had to have help.
Initially, we were going to begin our own Police Explorer program here, and what we wound up doing was joining forces with the Ocean County Sheriff's Department, who has a county-wide Police Explorer post. I wanted to bring the Police Explorer post here because that's how I started in law enforcement, and I wanted to give, you know, our residents the same opportunity. And we have actually hired employees for our department that were involved in our current Police Explorer program. One of the other programs that we began here was we've got law enforcement officers in the schools, and the LEAD program, Law Enforcement Against Drugs. We were one of the few, I would say, school districts or law enforcement agencies that didn't have a drug education program like DARE. And being that one of my top priorities is to decrease the dangerous drug epidemic in our community, in 2016, I knew that I needed to bring some type of drug and education program to our school district. And that's in early 2017, we began the LEAD program, the Law Enforcement Against Drugs program in the Mill Pond School, and currently we're doing it over in the Lacey Middle School. I'm very proud of that program. Another program that we began here, also very passionate about, is the No Shave November program, which gives money to those, unfortunately, that are suffering from cancer. And we've been doing that the last several years, and we've raised, as a police department and as emergency services, our fire and EMS, we've raised somewhere around $40,000 to fight cancer, and extremely very proud of that.
I actually spend a lot of time paddleboarding on Cedar Creek and over at Meadowlark Bay Beach.
I absolutely enjoy going to various organizations and speaking, whether it's the Rotary Club of Forked River or the Moose Lodge or the Elks Lodge. I really enjoy coming out and speaking to people. It's without a doubt the best part of the job. I'm a very big advocate of community policing and public relations. So what I'm doing today is the best part of the job, so thank you.
The Municipal Alliance has the Lacey 5K, which is one of their biggest fundraisers. And we also have a really great program, which is the Lacey Couch to 5K. My friend Nick Giovanni, he was one of the biggest Lacey personalities ever. So Nick Giovanni started Couch to 5K, and he had a free program where you just came and he slowly got you ready from that couch to run. And a 5K is 3.1 miles. And Nick was very well loved. He always wore like happy face pants, and he had a happy face shaved into the back of his head. So people really had a really great time, and our Lacey 5K grew tremendously because of his Couch to 5K program. So then a couple years had passed because he had passed tragically from cancer, and then we wound up getting a really great group of girls together, of really terrific runners, and they now coach Lacey Couch to 5K. Nick would always say, it's not the time you run, it's the time you have while you run. So that Lacey 5K program, if you just want to get up and moving, that's a fantastic opportunity. If you want to help, if you're like, maybe I'm not a runner, but you want to be on the sidelines, the Municipal Alliance is always looking for help. And the Municipal Alliance also, one of the things I failed to have mentioned is they created some really great events at our outdoor locations like the Mill Pond Luau. We haven't had a luau because of the pandemic this year or last year, but over the past couple years, we invited Mill Pond, the 5th and 6th graders, to a luau at the lake. There was a DJ, there was drinks, there was food. The kids had a great time.
My personal contributions to the town, I think, would be the years that I've spent as the youth minister of St. Pius. I've also given back a lot to my children's school. They're both members of the Cedar Creek Elementary School, and I've done a lot of work through their school and some other organizations like MOPS I was involved in when I first moved here. MOPS is an organization called Mothers of Preschoolers, and it is an international program for women all across the world who have small children to get together. It is religious-based, but not heavy on the religion, and it's where moms get together with their small children from birth through kindergarten so that they can have resources, someone else, who's in the same boat as them to talk to and make relationships and play groups with. And the one here in town I know is based out of Forked River Baptist Church. And it's a great place to meet new moms and make connections that way. Youth activities are very important in a town like Lacey Township because, especially within the Catholic Church, the youth is the church. The youth makes a strong foundation to bring up within our church. The youth provides a different viewpoint within our church, and the youth provides outreach within the town to people that may not necessarily be in the church. St. Pius has done a lot for Lacey Township, for the members of our church and those around us, providing spiritual guidance and services for the teens and the adults alike, spiritual guidance and outreach to those in Lacey.
What we do at Exodus is we are a free recovery center for all who struggle with drugs and alcohol. Exodus is important to Lacey because we as a community struggle with drugs and alcohol, and we need a safe place as a community to come to, and that's what Exodus does for our community.
Being a music teacher at Cedar Creek, what has it been like? It's actually been the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love working there with all the staff and faculty, and especially the kids. Being able to help someone to grow musically is just an amazing, it's just amazing. Watching somebody grow from just starting to sing to being able to blossom and put on full chorus concerts and band concerts and just watch them grow musically, it's amazing. You're giving back to the kids that are gonna hopefully come back to this town and make their own families grow up here. So I think it would be, to me it was a give back that I was willing to do because the kids are going to be our future, and realistically they deserve to have good leaders. So I was very happy to do that.
My biggest contribution would be as the school principal. This is my 14th year, and I get to see all the kids come up through kindergarten through 4th grade and watch them move on. And because I've been doing it so long, a lot of the kids come back and visit as college kids, as substitute teachers. Soon I'll probably have children of children that I had at the Forked River School. So I really enjoy that part of my job, being a part of helping the kids and the families as they grow up and become the people that they would get the jobs they want to have and become the people that they become.
I think that our children in Lacey are hard workers. I think they are extremely talented. I love hearing all the stories of what they're doing outside in the community and how that transfers over to the school as well. I think that Lacey offers our students such a variety of opportunities, whether it be athletics, arts, community events, but really to build our students and help them follow their passions.
Lacey Moose Lodge is a great fraternity. We do great for the community. We donate up to $10,000 a year to the Lacey Township. All the police departments, dive teams, first aid. Well, basically, there's always something to do at the Lacey Moose Lodge for our members that do live in Lacey and surrounding areas. And like I say, we all have a great time there, and we do stuff for our community is the most important thing that we do there. We provide Thanksgiving dinners, we provide holiday dinners every year to the residents that are in need. We always support a lot to the Lacey Food Bank a couple times a year. We do a lot for the community and to make sure our residents, or if anything that anybody needs anything, like recently we just donated a hospital bed that we received and wheelchairs, so anybody in need, if we have it, we're going to donate it, or if we don't have it, they need it, we'll get it for them.
Our mission is to raise awareness in the community about drugs and alcohol abuse, use and abuse, and we try to our role is prevention. So some of the things that we do are maybe alternative activities so the kids stay involved and don't want to try alcohol and drugs. We also have senior programs for our seniors. So one of my favorite programs with our seniors is we have senior luncheons once a month, and they're a lot of fun. Each one is a theme, and we have speakers come in, township committeemen come in and update them on what's going on, and they love it. And part of that is also really, I use some of those seniors who volunteer for our intergenerational program. We call it Time Travelers. So we pair up seniors with high school students who are considered at risk, and we meet with them a couple of days, and that's probably my favorite program because they learn a lot about each other and they develop a relationship, and it shows the students that some of the problems that they're going through in their high school years are not really different than a lot of seniors went through when they were young. So that's why we call it Time Travelers, because the seniors kind of are forced to go into the future with these kids, and the kids kind of go back and look back at what life was like in their time. So that's probably one of my favorites, is our Time Travelers. I've had a long history of being involved in the community. It started back in the 70s when I was part of a campaign to withdraw from Central Regional, because at that time we were only a K to 6 district, if you can believe that. So we had to actually have an election that allowed us to leave Central, because our kids at that time were on split sessions in the high school from 7th grade to 12th grade. So I think that was a big contribution. I was a big part of that with a lot of other people as well. And of course, we were successful, and we managed to get our schools built, our middle school at the time and the high school. And then through the Municipal Alliance, I would say it's just in trying to make parents aware that their kids, all kids are at risk. Years ago, parents used to think that it couldn't happen to my kid. They viewed it as being a problem that was more in the urban communities and not in a suburban community. But we now know that, it can happen anywhere and it can happen to anybody. I know personally people who have lost sons and daughters. I myself have a son in recovery. So I think my biggest contribution there has been to raise awareness through what we call our Red Night Out programs. We've managed to bring a lot of people out and they hear speakers, and people realize that this too can happen to them.
I think that my best day ever in the Lacey School District would probably be the day that the Unity Tour came through. So that was a bunch of police officers and service people were riding their bikes all the way down to Washington, D.C. And they decided to take a stop in Lacey. So they came through the parking lots. They started at Cedar Creek. They came to Mill Pond. They went to the other schools as well. And just to see the whole community come together, that's one of the most amazing things about Lacey.
Well, I was a fireman, volunteer fireman in town. And I did all the police towing in town for 15 years. And I just helped the police department out and helped anything with the town that need towing or repairing. I was there to help them out.
I think the recreation department plays an important role in our township because whether you're a newborn and you're our youngest member of the community or you're our oldest member of the community, we serve everybody in the town. We provide programs, we really try to give people opportunities to make memories and have fun. We're an outlet for people to enjoy themselves. And I think that's that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, is that we serve, the need for people to recreate, to forget about the stress that they have day to day, and they come to, whether it's a concert in the park or it's a yoga class or it's just coming to the lake for the day. They get a chance to relax and enjoy themselves. My favorite event was probably this past year when we did the Haunted Drive-Through Trail. And I say it was my favorite event not because I don't like the other ones, it was because it really showed that the power of being able to pull together and put, beating the odds, so to speak. Most events were getting canceled, and we didn't want to keep canceling things. So we looked at other ways to solve the problem of getting people together without it putting people at risk. And I think that was the event where, when people are willing to say yes and figure out a way to make it work instead of just saying no, I think that was probably, for me, my favorite event because it brought a lot of people together.
So Legends of Lacey Township is a short film that I directed a few years ago, and it was in cooperation with some of my former students who had graduated and had come back to me with an idea that they wanted to do a documentary with a little bit of a twist where we kind of looked at some local locations and based it off of those locations and kind of worked around the township. So we started in Bamber, we worked our way down Cedar Creek, we came through Lenoka Harbor, through Forked River, and out to the power plant, and we ended on the power plant and the Parkway. And we kind of told the story about how Lacey Township was really not created, but grown from around the 1930s until the 1960s. So we kind of stuck in that kind of area, the growth of Lacey Township. So while we did focus on some of the stuff about how they started, it was a lot of fun to do, and it was a really fulfilling documentary for me to do. And we're really happy with the results with it. We had over 300 people on the beach on our premiere. We've done screenings of it through the years, and we found it very interesting how many people were really into what we were doing with that documentary. WLTS TV 21 was started in 1991 right here in Lacey Township by a gentleman named Art Smith, and the Lacey High School Board of Education obviously backing it, and we really are proud of the things that we've been able to do for the town. We cover all the parades, we cover all the big events, a lot of the sporting events, and really I look at it less as I might get myself in trouble for saying this, and you can keep it in, but I look at it as less of a class and more as an activity for the kids to be able to really get some really good real world experience. So we've done a lot of great things with WLTS, and I really, am proud of a lot of things that we've done, but really none more so than in 2012 after Hurricane Sandy when we did the Provide for the Pride telethon. It was put together by a group of my students, and they raised a bunch of money and food donations for the Lacey Food Bank, for some local charities. And really, they kind of jumped in and said, we need to do something when you saw kind of all these bad things that were happening, around town, after Hurricane Sandy. And I think that was one of the coolest things that we've ever done with WLTS.
Over the years, I've been blessed with the opportunity to share my talents and my time and my energy through various volunteer opportunities, whether it be teaching CCD at my parish, St. Pius, helping them decorate for Vacation Bible School over the years, also being a Girl Scout leader, and also using my art talents to help raise money for all the various organizations and charities that we have here, like Berkeley Lacey Relay for Life, our athletic organizations, the Forked River Fire Department, and some local schools. We did a project with our Girl Scouts. We did a community arts project that the local troops participated in for the 100th anniversary. We did a mural, and all the girls from the Girl Scout troops at that time came and decorated it. It was flowers, and it was really nice. I actually still have it.
Being part of the National Honor Society means that I can give back to the community that has helped raise me, and I can work on a lot of volunteer experiences and meet new people and have really cool times with my advisor and my fellow members. I would say the importance of organizations like the National Honor Society in the town is to kind of get everyone from every level in the town kind of on the same page, so we can like for example, this morning I went to a Challenger League at the high school where we helped the special ed kids play basketball, and they played Central. So it's kind of like pulling those kids that maybe don't get into social schemes as much, more into the community, giving them more opportunities and things like that, that really kind of, I guess it's more of like a family aspect of the community than just different groups of people. We kind of can all be like together in some sense.
I was involved from the time I was a student, playing soccer, playing basketball, and then in turn becoming a soccer parent and a basketball parent for the town, for the high school, for the middle school, and also being involved in my church, the Lacey United Methodist Church, and doing things throughout the community to help those in the community. Being the mayor's wife was very, very interesting. I had no idea how much time that the mayor put into serving the people of the town. Committeemen have a lot of time. Mayors have even more. It was an honor to go to things like Boy Scout Eagle Awards and being invited to be a guest for the Coast Guard changing of the guard, getting to attend various programs throughout the Moose Lodge, throughout the Elks Lodge, watching him work hard and have the town be commended for the parks program, the recreation program, because Mr. Wallen does a beautiful job of getting that off the ground. And Mr. McDonald, my husband, that's one of his pet projects, was recreation.
Well, the Moose takes care of children, seniors, and our community. So we have children at Moose Heart that we help, and we also help seniors at Moose Haven. And then in the community, we have benefits to raise money for local charities. We can help many people. If I tried to do it on my own, I wouldn't be able to help as many people. So being a part of that organization really helps to be able to help as many people as we can.
Well, one of my favorite times being a school teacher was actually this week. Because this week I was nominated as Teacher of the Year for Lenoka Harbor School. Thank you. So actually that was most special. I love my job and I love what I do, and it was just really nice to be recognized for that. So that was definitely a good moment. We're all of the class parties and field day and our walkathon day where we got to get outside and walk and dance together. Some of the things I like to do for my students outside of school is I try to help them out whenever they need. If they, email me or their parents call or invite me to a soccer game, I always try to go and attend those things and, make those connections outside of school. Oh yeah, I participate. I'm an advisor in fitness club and peer mediation at Lenoka Harbor School, so I get to work with not just the students in my class, but other 3rd and 4th graders also doing that.
The Knights of Columbus is a charitable organization. We're based at St. Pius X Church. Well, we do quite a few things here. In terms of scholarships at the high school, we offer scholarships. We support the football team. They're always looking for donations. In terms of Lacey Township, we offered a community breakfast last year on a Saturday morning, open to anybody in the township that wanted to come. We hosted a lot of dances at the hall years ago for the community. We do a lot of work at St. Pius X Church, which is part of Lacey. We host breakfasts in the after masses on Sunday mornings, at least 6 of them a year. We work the fish fries over there during Lent. We offer usher services for the masses. Some of our guys, escort the people to the benches and so on. So we do a lot of work there. Pretty much whatever Father Richard asks. Church picnics, we'll work that. So we do a lot for the church, which is part of the community also. We honored a Lacey police officer last September, a very nice plaque for his commitment and service to the community.
Well, our church has been here since 1977 when it was planted by Pastor Ken Kirby. And so in the community, it's offered a lot of things like children's ministries and youth ministries and the mothers of preschooler groups. Well, I think the church has really blessed the town in the sense of when there's like local things like Hurricane Sandy happened and people's houses got flooded. Some of our people went and helped them renovate their houses. Our church, thankfully at that time, had power, so a lot of people just came to the church just to do something simple like charge their cell phone. We've helped out with the food bank and different things like that. But I think the main thing is bringing the message of hope of Jesus to the community. One event that definitely comes to mind is Lacey Day. How the town organizes that, and different churches, different businesses, different organizations all come together, and everybody goes to Gilley Park and walks around, and people give out things and there's food and stuff. But I think one of the main things is that the community all comes together, and it's just basically a day where everybody in the community is just there having conversations, talking with one another, catching up with one another. It just has that kind of community feel.
I'm able to help so many people by being on the township committee, and especially as mayor. Being the mayor is exciting. It's just so much to talk about. In any given day, you could meet with veterans and some older folks in our retirement communities, and then you may read a story at one of our schools to the younger kids. So trying to always make things safe for our people, give people recreational opportunities, and make sure that they have what they need to live a good life. I feel that that's my responsibility.
If I read something on Facebook, a kid who had broke their arm, or loss of a pet, or a grandma, something traumatic, I reach out as quickly as I can because I want to cheer that family up. I want to do whatever I can to make them laugh. I know how hard the PTA works. I know how hard the presidents of all the sports organizations work. So I do what I can to help them move forward and get the kids involved. I guess I'm very community oriented. I want the community to do good, and I want the kids to have as much as they possibly can. I want them to have fun as much as they can.
To me, Girl Scouts means spending time with your community and your friends, and growing as a person, growing as a girl in society, and learning skills like budgeting, money management, and how to sell a product like the cookies. And it's basic life skills that get you through life. We try to do a lot of community service. We'll try to do a lot more things around Christmas time, making little cookie boxes for everyone and giving them out to people at homeless shelters. Organizations like the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts make Lacey a better place because it's young children doing community service and learning life skills.
I've played here since I was 5 for soccer. I think it gives people something to do, like when we have night games and stuff, people come out to Hebrew. It's very entertaining to watch. We're a pretty close team. We play our best, and it's fun for people to come out and enjoy.
The Lacey Township High School Fishing Club started in 2009. Terry Stewart, who is a good friend of mine, came to me with the idea. He had seen some stuff with Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs through the state program, and he said, we need something like that here. you know, to kind of get kids involved that maybe they're not involved in sports, maybe they're not involved in clubs and activities, and they just don't have something that's there for them. And that was our original goal, was to get something that's there that, you know, kids could use, you know, who maybe weren't as involved. What we found as it grew is that everybody wanted to jump in, everybody wanted to get involved. We, you know, have had membership numbers, you know, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you know, on a yearly basis. And, you know, it's not just one group of kids. It's a lot of times it's groups of kids that you don't necessarily kind of think, you know, might hang together, and they just find a niche in the fishing club and jump in and do that.
There's a lot of different organizations in town that offer really great services to the families and the people who live here.
You can join the PTA, you can join the volunteer fire department, you can become the ambulance, you can work on, you know, ambulance department if you want. There's a lot of different things you can do to get involved in town.
There's a free yoga class for the food bank, and every month people come, whether they're beginners or they've had a practice for years, and they just participate in our yoga class. We collect a lot of food, and it's amazing. The food bank is always so thrilled when we come. We contribute a lot every single year with just one simple hour of yoga. We have the free food bank program. We also have kids outdoor yoga clubs that we're trying to help support emotional regulation, especially during coronavirus and the different stresses that have come up with school. We also have a toddler Earth Day that's coming up. So we're trying to combine outdoor elements, bringing yoga to paddle boards and to the creek, bringing it to the lake.
Well, there's many different ways to get involved through all the different churches within Lacey Township. There's lots of great schools to get involved in, many boating and fishing type communities and involvements. There's the rec. Lacey has a great recreation department for kids and adults with all kinds of activities.
But there are so many ways to get involved, from the committees or scouting or working restaurants, food pantries. There are so many different ways. We're fortunate, we're in one of our parks, but Lacey has a boatload of parks. There's just so many different avenues for someone that wants to get involved, whether it's with the senior community, the growing and the town itself, or the younger population.
I would suggest, if they would want to get more involved in the town, to maybe reach out to local organizations like the Popcorn Park Zoo, or they could actually reach out to Exodus as well.
If they want to get more involved with the town, they could join the Historical Society. We are a 501c3 organization, so students who volunteer do get community service credits, which they can use towards their scholarships. They can learn about the history of the town. They can volunteer to help preserve the museum, to maintain it.
Oh, there's a lot of organizations they can get involved in, from the Elks Club, the Moose Club, Knights of Columbus, all kinds of the Historic Society, the fire departments, the ambulance service, to all the different clubs and organizations. For our children, there's so much, from our great recreation department to all of the Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the dance studios, the martial arts studios, to all the school activities that we have throughout the school district.
The best part of my job is the smiling face that I see outside my window all the time. Is seeing the kids really, really excited when they see me. But it's also having an influence on what kids do and how they act. I wasn't a good student in middle school. I wasn't a good student. I wasn't disrespectful. I was a class clown, and I was extremely disruptive. And I try to tell kids now how important it is to do good in school. It's so important, and I know yous are kids and yous want to have fun. But I had other friends that were class clowns, but at the same time got good grades. And they went on to college and they got good jobs. And so, you know, the three things I have on my truck are, if you have an ice, you must brush twice, tie your shoes, Because kids just don't tie their shoes anymore. You got, my son is over there, I can't see him, but I want to see if he had his shoes tied, but he's gone to the Snook, so we don't have to worry about shoe tying anymore. But I tell kids, brush their teeth, tie your shoes, watch for cars, but I always stress how important school is. And there's some kids that, if I start talking to them about school and they're not doing good in a certain subject, I'll make them a deal that if they can turn it around, I can't ask for an A, because just try your best. Let your mom or your teacher call me and say that you really did try to make a difference in school, try to improve on your grade. I'll promise them a free jumbo or a free large or something like that. Kids listen to me when I tell them to do certain things more than they listen to their parents. And I guess it's because they only see me for a couple minutes, or they might just like Italian ice and Fun Dip, and they might want to just, they're going to listen to me to get that. But whatever the motivation is, I like that I can have an impact on kids' lives moving forward. And I try to be as positive, you know, try to give them as much positivity as possible.
Looking forward and looking back.
If I could talk to someone 100 years from now and give them insight on what it was like to grow up and what it's like to live in Lacey, I would tell them that I've had a great experience and the community has been so kind to me.
Last year in 2020, transferring over into 2021, we've been dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, I guess we would talk first about how we survived the pandemic.
Something that I've never experienced in my lifetime, especially here in Lacey Township. And things, as we know, would have temporarily changed. I am positive. I think things will return to normal or close to normal as possible in the very near future. But 100 years from now, we're certainly gonna look back in history at, you know, in 2020 and 2021, dealing with the COVID-19 crisis.
People of our town pulled together and supported each other, and that how the Township Committee tried to come up with different things throughout the year, and how the Sesquicentennial Committee has tried to create activities that were safe. That Lacey Township was also a safe place to live.
I thought it was a year of community, family, and bravery. That's the way I look at 2020.
I think that people have come together in amazing ways. I mean, when you look at Lacey Township as a whole, when people need something, they come together and they give.
And whenever anybody's in need, everybody comes together and helps them. It's a great, larger, small town.
Despite the very challenging time and many people having to reinvent themselves to get by, and the health precautions and the isolation, Lacey somehow came together as a town to keep going, to keep people healthy, to keep people active, to keep people in touch, from the school kids all the way up to the elderly.
There was no place to go this year except home. And everyone was in their yards this year. And it felt like it did in '91. There weren't year-round sports. There weren't practices 3 or 5 days a week. There weren't meetings and things like that. Most people were home, and it was a year filled with families in their front yards. And I think a lot of people got to know their neighbors on their streets this year, because there was no place to drive, and sitting out in your front yard was a treat, because you were outside, you weren't watching the news, you weren't scared, and you were outside with your family. So it was a year where people got to know their families better and meet their neighbors.
My parents, way back when, came here. In their lives, they weathered many storms. They were both Holocaust survivors from Europe. So they really believed in education, family, and food, which are the things that we donate and help with mostly to this day. I'm sure that in 100 years we'll be talking to people, because I think this town will survive and will grow and continue to grow.
Life is kind of different in 21 even than in 2019. We've had to find different ways to connect with people, whether it's through the computer or outside like this, like we are now.
What would I tell them about Lacey? I would just tell them what a great place it was to grow up, to be able to enjoy nature and be unplugged and not be tied to a screen, and going out and riding your bike and going down to the bay or to the marina and getting mosquito bites and you know, after sundown, and just playing outdoors and outside until the street lights turned on. That's how you knew you had to go home. There were no cell phones. You know, we just had a TV with a few channels, and I wouldn't trade growing up like that for the world, really. And if I could tell anybody 100 years from now what it was like, I would tell them that, and I would also encourage them to try living that way for a while and just experiencing that joy and that peace.
Life in Lacey in 2021 is unique because, of course, of the pandemic, but that affects us, you know, throughout the world. But life in Lacey in 2021, Lacey is still a nice small town. Like I said, we have the Pine Barrens to the west, and we have the Bay and Ocean to the east, so our population density is relatively small with a lot of, you know, rural fun activities to do, either in the water or on the woods. We even have Forked River Mountain, so we can even say that we have a mountain here in Lacey Township.
100 years from now, I would say, you know, hopefully Lacey is still the same type of close-knit town that it is. Still, you know, a great place to live. Obviously, the location, it can't be beat, being close to the beach. And hopefully the schools still stay the same, and just continue on in what the township kind of is doing right now for families.
I mean, I went to high school in the early 90s. We had the best soccer team, we had the best football team. Like, we were really, really, really strong. People always were like, "You're from Lacey? Oh my God, like that's the nicest town. Oh, you guys have such a nice school." Like, people looked up to us. Like, when we met people from other communities, automatically they were like, "Wow, you're from Lacey." And I think that is cool, because I had friends from Little Egg Harbor, I had friends from Tom's River, and they always complimented on what a great town we had and how nice it was and how they loved coming here.
And you take a look at the historical elements. We're standing in Enos Park right now, and I mean, did you know that this used to be an airfield for Captain's Inn, you know, back in the 1950s? You know, you take a look at, you know, Lacey Road and that being built basically to carry bog iron down to the Forked River. You take a look around and you just see the richness and the history here. You see all the things that are available to you here between the woods and the water, and then the proximity to the cities as well. It's just a great place to live, and I can't really imagine living anywhere else.
You always come back to, you know, what feels like home and where you feel safe and happy. And Lacey Township does that for me.
I'm really grateful for the town and everything that they've given to me. I'll never be able to repay the town for how great they've been to me. Never.
Lacey means to me community. I've lived here my whole life. This is my home. I've lived here since I was 2 years old, so it's all I've ever known. It's the only place I've ever wanted to be, and the only place I ever want to be.
Is everyone ready? Is everybody ready? Ready. Rolling. Rolling.
So sit back and enjoy the movie.
Rolling. Recording. Rolling. Live. Kidding. Live.
Ow!
Wait, hold on.
Rolling. What's your favorite instrument?
My favorite instrument is the French horn.
Rolling. Recording. Rolling.
Dead ends come and go. Look toward the horizon.
What is your favorite icy flavor?
That's a tough one. I don't think I have a flavor, but my favorite icy flavor, it's a good story, is 1978, which is chocolate and banana mixed.
Stance to be in, like offense, defense?
I'm a striker, so I play offense a lot, score all the goals and stuff.
There are stories to tell, times we grew and the times we fell. Ooh, I've been afraid some days, and the road will lead us to a better place. Oh, there are stories to tell, the times we grew and the times we fell. Oh, I've been afraid some days, the road will lead us to a better place. Road will lead us to a better place.
I want to thank you for inviting me to do this interview. I feel honored.